Welcome back to Anime Hour. I'm your host, the Anime Guy, and today we're diving into the world of Kaiju No. 8, the monster smashing shonen anime that's been blowing up lately. Currently, Kaiju No. 8 is number 5 on the most popular anime on Crunchyroll, but the main question still looms. Is this a kaiju-sized win for anime lovers, or a colossal pile of kaiju crap? Well, today we'll be exploring the good, the bad, and the ugly of Kaiju No. 8. Kaiju No. 8 is a fresh take on humanity versus monsters. This isn't a new concept, but with a protagonist like Kafka, who is turned into a half-human, half-kaiju, this creates an interesting dynamic for the overall plot of the story. Not only is Kafka labeled Kaiju No. 8, but he's a part of the anti-kaiju defense force. I'm gonna start off with just saying, Kafka. Do I have to say anything else? We have a protagonist that's relatable, someone who isn't an overpowered genius, someone who's not Senku from Dr. Stone, an average Joe whose knowledge of kaiju goes a long way in the defense force. I believe we all have a little Kafka in us. Alright, I'm gonna dial that back a bit, that sounds dirty. Kafka is someone striving to keep their dream alive and trying to keep their promises to their childhood friend. I personally like Kafka a lot. He's a 32-year-old loser working a dead-end job who decided to give his dreams a second shot after befriending a new coworker who has a similar dream to Kafka about joining the anti-kaiju defense force. Keep in mind that as the series progresses, you see Kafka grow not only in his kaiju powers, but also in his overall character, from being promoted in the defense force to making decisions in crucial moments. This is what we like to call an evolving protagonist. Kaiju No. 8 is an anime that I consider all gas and no brakes. Not to reveal any spoilers, since, I'm currently on chapter 107, I can honestly say that this anime sticks to the plot without boring the reader or viewer to death with overcomplication or long drawn-out plot lines. There are some bads and uglies in the overall story, but we'll get to that later in the video. We all know there are serious animes. For instance, Attack on Titan was geared towards a more serious tone, but any anime that can find a perfect balance between humor and action is an anime worth watching. With Kaiju No. 8, it does just that. Despite the serious monster kaiju threat, the series balances its humor and lighthearted moments. One of the best things viewers can appreciate is a story that has good pacing. In Kaiju No. 8, Kafka's transformation and his powers are slowly revealed. It's keeping the viewer hooked. For instance, in the selection exam, Kafka didn't immediately transform, and even when he did, it was for a brief moment, thus keeping his kaiju ability under wraps for a later reveal in the story. What really keeps a viewer hooked is the fact that Kafka has been labeled Kaiju No. 8. This leads to the mystery behind the 7 previous kaijus. Keep in mind that Kaiju No. 8 isn't your run-of-the-mill Godzilla-style knockoffs. These kaiju come in all shapes and sizes, and throughout the entire manga, you see that. All these kaiju come with their unique abilities that keep the battles exciting and unpredictable. Hey, if you're enjoying the video so far, consider subscribing to Anime Hour for more anime content. Now, I'm not here to praise Kaiju No. 8 because it comes with its problems. It does have its fair share of problems, and I hope a lot of it gets fleshed out before the end of the first season. For starters, Kaiju No. 8 isn't afraid of the typical shonen tropes. We've got all the familiar tropes here. Power-ups during fights, flashbacks for emotional impact, and the occasional training montage. At this point, Kaiju No. 8 is very predictable, and you can easily figure out what happens next. This anime really misses the mark when it comes to character development. We have what we call limited character development. Besides Kafka and a few key players such as Rino, Ichikawa, and Kikoro, some characters feel underdeveloped in the beginning. But as the series continues, you do learn more about others, such as the Vice Captain and Captain Mina Ashiro. This series had an initial plot hook of Kafka wanting to hide his identity as Kaiju No. 8. It initially made you think, how long can this guy hide his kaiju powers? But that ends almost immediately when more and more people find out he has kaiju powers. As someone who binged this entire manga and rewatched the first few episodes over and over, I can honestly say that I am hooked. But then again, I am just one person. This ultimately leads us to the scary and ugly part of Kaiju No. 8. One of the biggest, ugliest things about Kaiju number 8 is the power system. The power system can seem a bit unexplainable at times. Sometimes you see Kafka unleash some really impressive powers. For example, in episode 4, we see Kafka in his kaiju form just demolish the enemy kaiju. But later in the series, you see him again in his kaiju form, and now he's struggling against some basic kaiju or some of the captains from other platoons. Now let's jump back into the story and the plot. They split in so many ways. The writer tries to make consistent progress forward in Kafka's story and his journey in the Defense Force. But by doing so, there are a few things left out. For instance, as of chapter 107, it isn't explained how and why Kafka received his kaiju abilities. From the initial kaiju who found him in the hospital to why he was chosen in the first place. Second of all, we are still left with the mystery of what and where are these kaiju from. Yes, that is still not explained by chapter 107. Now some might say I'm nitpicking, but it's true. Sure, you can kind of figure out why Kafka was chosen, and yeah, you can kind of figure out where the kaiju came from, but it's never written directly into the manga. You kind of have to fill in the blanks yourself and kind of make assumptions. Again, I'm at chapter 107 and it's still not explained. So I do hope we get some type of closure before the end of the series. Currently, the manga has a ton of mixed reviews, from some praising it and others bashing it to hell, which arguments can be made for both. Is this the next Jujutsu Kaisen or the next Attack on Titan? More than likely not. But if you truly do enjoy the anime and you're an avid consumer of anime, then the ball is in your court. What do I mean by that? If you're enjoying the series so far, then continue to watch it when it's released. By doing so, you'll be keeping it as one of the top rated animes for as long as possible. What I can say is more than likely this anime will receive a second season. I can bet money on that. If you're a fan of fighting anime and you're okay with the classic shonen tropes, then you won't be disappointed at all. I truly believe that manga readers can be a bit more harsh when it comes to reviews. Shoot, I know I am at times. But if you are someone who watches anime on the couch every Saturday, you're probably a bit more lenient. All you need is great animation, a good fight scene, and you're a happy camper. For instance, episode 1 has 27.8 thousand likes and only 198 dislikes. The entire series sits at a 4.9 out of 5 stars, which over 94% of those stars are 5 stars. So is Kaiju number 8 worth watching? Absolutely. Despite some of the drawbacks, it's a fun, action-packed anime with a unique twist on the kaiju genre. The animation is great. The characters are likable. Who doesn't like Kafka? And the mystery surrounding the kaiju and their abilities keeps you hooked. But I would love to know your thoughts on the series. Are you enjoying Kaiju number 8? You can let me know down below in the comment section. Thank you so much for stopping by Anime Hour. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more anime breakdowns. If you're looking for more videos like this, you might want to check out my Magic Knight Captains tier list. You can find that on screen now. And like always, go out there and enjoy some anime.